A landmark agreement was ironed out between Korea and Japan on the decades-long issue of Japan's sexual enslavement of Korean women leading up to and during World War II. Now, that was exactly 1 year ago today. But despite the agreement reached between the two governments, public opinion still remains divided. Even the few surviving victims themselves are split over the accord. Korea-Japan, quote, comfort women agreement 1 year on. Where do we stand today and where do we go from here? Our news feature tonight with Kwon Jangho.
Every Wednesday for almost 25 years, surviving victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery and members of the public have gathered in front of the Japanese embassy in Seoul. They've been demanding for the Japanese government to officially take responsibility for the war atrocity. But this week, the gathering has a special significance. Today marks exactly 1 year since the Korean and Japanese governments came to an agreement to settle the so-called comfort women issue. It was hailed as a landmark moment, with both parties agreeing that it was finally and irreversibly resolved. But as you can see here, there are still many who disagree. The landmark agreement was reached on December 28, 2015. It pledged that Tokyo would provide $8.3 million to a fund supporting surviving Korean victims, while Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe reportedly called Korean President Park Geun-hye and offered an apology. Over the last year, Korea's foreign ministry confirmed that 34 victims had agreed to accept a payment of about $83,000, but 12 have rejected the deal completely. Kim Bok-dong was one of an estimated 200,000 women, mostly Korean, to have been taken away by the Japanese military during the Second World War and forced to work in military brothels located in China and Southeast Asia. For Kim, the agreement not only failed to reflect what she always had wanted, but also came as a complete surprise, as none of the victims were consulted beforehand.
Not one word was mentioned to us. Of course we were surprised. We demanded the government to help resolve the issue, but they've come back with this. We can't agree to this.
She says what she wants is not money, but a direct apology from the Japanese government to the victims and for legal responsibility to be taken.
Whether it's $10 million or $100 million, I won't take it. I want the Japanese government to take responsibility for what they did, to admit that it was wrong, and to restore our honor. Only then should they look to give legal compensation.
Kim's resolve has been strengthened with Abe and other Japanese politicians seemingly backtracking on the agreement. Over the last year, Abe has expressed that he believed there has been no evidence to suggest the Japanese military mobilized a system of comfort women. This view was reiterated by a senior Japanese diplomat at a hearing in the United Nations in February as well. The current political crisis in Korea, along with criticism from the victims and the public, have now put the future of the agreement at risk. A recent survey among presidential hopefuls for next year's elections showed that more than half of respondents would renegotiate the deal, while others say they would scrap it altogether. But experts warn that it might be difficult to get a better deal than the current one, and moreover, that there have been benefits.
Understandably, there has been criticism on the contents of the agreement, but in economic and diplomatic terms, overall we can say there has been a positive effect.
Just east of Seoul lies a home for surviving comfort women victims called the House of Sharing. Lee Ok-sun is one of 10 survivors residing there. She has been fighting for the victims' rights for 16 years, and she says the agreement does not speak for her either.
The Japanese government should have come to us, the victims, to make the agreement. It feels like our government has sold us off for the money.
Most of the residents here have refused to accept the deal. There are calls for the current agreement to be scrapped and a new one to be put in place.
If only during the discussions of the agreement they had just consulted the victims and their families, there wouldn't be this much resentment. We don't understand how something like this happened in a democratic society like ours.
The average age of the victims now stands in the 90s, with only 39 surviving victims alive today. Time is running out for a resolution that will bring peace to all the victims. Buried under this spot is a time capsule. It says here it'll be opened once the comfort woman issue is resolved. The Korean and Japanese governments may have come to an agreement last year, but it seems there's still quite a way to go before it can be said that the issue has been resolved. Kwon Jangho, Arirang News.